Hey guys, Michigan again, doing another replay. This time we have Good Soup from Class 2 in the CS-63. Now, Good Soup is going to show us exactly how to maximize your performance while minimizing the amount of damage you take, and that's super important in a vehicle like the CS-63. This tank has okay turret armor. It's not going to reliably bounce anything, and it only has 2,000 hit points. So taking hits in it often results in a quarter to a third of your hit points being taken away. So Good Soup here is going to start by pushing down the 0 line here on Nuremberg. Now, this is a pretty good spot. You've got bush cover. Unfortunately, there's no vehicles with him. It is currently just him. I might also mention that he is top tier. There are tier 9s, but there aren't any tier 8s for him to just kind of run over. So this is not just an easy matchup for him. A great shot there on the 1-4. He got a good shot off on that 430U. We'll be seeing that 430U again later, which will be the first example of what I'm talking about here. So not much going on. It seems like most of the team has gone down the 1-2 line, which is pretty dangerous on this map. If you leave the 9-0 open, the enemies can roll down there, kill the arty, and that's it. Currently, it's just him, the Waffenträger auf Panzerfear, the Batchat 15555, and himself out here on the 9-0. Now, he's wisely getting out of there. He's going to fall back and see if he can't get to a different spot to cover. The TNH is pushing straight up to the middle. I might also mention that there's a 430U and a version 4 down there who kind of can cover him, but right now they're a little bit pinned in by that WZ 114 there. So, Good Soup here is taking this rear bush position. Now, this is great. We use this a lot in advances, too. You can see off to Good Soup's left there. There's a little divot, and that's a great way to cover this. The TNH is going to push up, see if we can't spot anything for him. There we go. 430U's back up, as we said earlier, and the enemy 114. Great shot there by the TNH. Good Soup gets a great hit off there on that 430U. Unfortunately, he does get lit there. He already knew that because he was backing up well before that. Now, wisely using the double bushes there between him and the 430U to keep himself from being lit again. Now, especially now that there's a T30 there. That T30 will take off pretty much a third to a half of this tank's health. Now, from this spot, he has solid cover, but the way the bushes are on that back road on the 0 line means that he cannot spot anything coming down that road. That's the one disadvantage. But obviously the best spot. Now here comes the 430U. Unfortunately, that shell goes a little bit low. Now there we go. There's the turret of the CS doing it. Great shot again into the side. Now he's angling against it, sort of side scraping off the wall, bounces the 430 again, and there he is. So he just took out a decent tier 10 medium tank while taking no damage in return. That's huge. That 430U could have easily bounced both of those shots, or hit both of those shots, I'm sorry, and caused about 880 damage. Now double bushed again against the T30. There we go. Now this T30 decides to poke out again. This CS has a pretty good rate of fire. It has about 3,500 DPM base. Once you start adding, bond equipment to it, I think you can push it up to almost 3,700. But him and the Waffenträger both shut down that T30 there. Now, using the speed of this with the turbo, this tank is incredibly quick for anybody who has one or who knows about it. So, going into the turbo mode here, he's going to retake the 0 line. He can see on the right side that a lot of the tanks have already been accounted for, and none of them would have rotated over. The only thing we're missing, I believe, is that enemy. I'm not sure if it's another T30 or not. I can't really tell by the icon there. But he's blasting it right down. Pretty confident that there's nothing else over here. Now this is great. If you can get down to this side of the map, you can come in and around behind the enemy tanks here. And that's exactly what Good Soup is trying to do. So nothing spotted down at this end of the map. The TNH is right with him, and the Waffenträger has decided he's going to go city instead. The 430 has decided to work in the middle as well, and the version 4 unfortunately has died, so it just leaves him and the teenage covering the side with maybe a little bit of arty support possibly. The batch at 155 struggles a little bit in that regard. Setting up here, he spots a T-57 Heavy who's covering that spot. That T-57 got himself into a pretty rough position here. There's not a lot of great cover on this side. Unfortunately, that shell goes a little bit low. Now, it should be noted that Good Soup is firing gold here. The penetration is okay on this vehicle. It's on par with everything else. But Good Soup is going with the full premium loadout. So, unfortunately, with the bushes there next to the building, Good Soup is no longer able to see that T-57 Heavy. Gonna move forward a little bit more in the bush, see if he can't get a glimpse of that tank. Now, the team is winning the city. They're now up 7,000 health. Unfortunately, T-57 is just angled out a little bit too far. Now, Good Soup's going to make a pretty good play here. Now, he sees the T-57 coming this way, and he disappears. Now, the T-57 decides to drive out into the open, and Good Soup easily exploits that, shooting down onto the front plate of that T-57 Heavy. The T-57 does not have great armor. It's actually quite weak. Looking for a shot there on the E100. Unfortunately, the buildings are in the way. So, T-57 has a very good 4-round autoloader. Unfortunately, the armor is not that great, and the turret is pretty easily penetrable. Good Soup's just going to go for it. Bounces a shell from the T-57 Heavy. Takes one there, his first damage of the game. Gets his track knocked out, and now the T-57 is out of ammo. Track is almost back up. And unfortunately, the Conway there hits him, knocking out his ammo rack just as Good Soup used his repair kit. It means he's going to have to wait 90 seconds to get back, almost making his reload almost double. Nice job there, weaving back and forth. T-57 still on reload, and he kills him. Now, Good Soup's going to just make a run for cover here. That Conway is in an interesting spot there. It looks like he's sitting in the cap circle. Now, the team has lost a little bit of their ground. They're only up about 4,000 health. Unfortunately, rushes the shot a little bit on the E100, only causing some tracking damage. But that E100's in a bit of a tough spot. Alright, here comes the Conway. Puts a shot in. Now, remember if... And Good Soup finishes him off. Remember, if that 430 had hit both of his shells, Good Soup would be dead right now. And that shows exactly why hit point conservation is so important, both in random battles and in competitive play. Good Soup here's got about 15 seconds. He's trying to wait until his ammo rack can be repaired. And the S-Conk very nicely finishes off that E100. The team is only up 1,500 health. They are up 5 tanks, though. Good Soup's ammo rack is still out, but that should only be for a moment. And there we go. Ammo rack's back up, and there he goes back up to his 3,500 DPM. Now, 4005 isn't paying attention. Obviously, there's a lot of things to be looking at, so one can hardly blame him. Now, Good Soup could be shooting HE rounds here, but the HE rounds on this vehicle are not amazing, so I don't blame him for sticking with the standard. T30 comes around. Now, this should be the end of it. There we go. There we go. We see the turret bounce again, but a little bit of wiggling there. The T30 really should have shot his hull, but Good Soup's wiggle may have confused him a little bit. Firing his last premium round, the arty sets him on fire. Actually, he sets him on fire, and that's the end of the game. So, Good Soup finishes with a fantastic result there. Nothing incredibly special, but very solid play all the way through. Let's take a look at the post-game. So, if we take a look here, Good Soup finishes on the top of his team with 7,125 damage, getting a high caliber, well-deserved, obviously, and a mastery badge. If we take a look, he did almost double what the rest of his team did. That 430U did a pretty nice job as well. Let's take a look at the detailed report. So he blocked 2,030 damage that game. Fantastic job. Out of 27 shots, he fired 26 and 26 hit and 20 pen. This tank is pretty accurate. And actually, he still made money there despite the massive repair costs. So, great job there, overall, Good Soup. And I look forward to seeing more replays. Thank you, guys.